Today in our video for National Ag Day, we have our welding subject. And first off, we're going to talk about why welding is important to the ag industry. In the ag industry, welding helps produce and manufacture a lot of heavy equipment in ag that we use, like tractors and bulldozers and excavators. Now, welding is very important because it helps manufacture, build, just in general cases, but as well as repair and keep them running. So us as farmers and the ag industry can use them and keep our lifestyle going on and on. Now, welding in ag is used to help repair our everyday things in our farming, just as our wheel lines. So, wheel line breaks, you can weld it up. And you can also use it on your backhoe, say, to hard face it and keep the bucket from destroying itself. Or a bulldozer too, because you broke a link piece and you have to put it back together. But it can also be used as anything as small as building a table like this metal table right under us right here, or building a booth or anything just like that in general. It can be used for literally anything and everything in our ag industry. Some of the most important things that you want to worry about when you're welding is wearing any type of welding PPE, such as wearing a welding helmet, wearing your gloves that protect your hands from any type of heat or any burns, wearing a thick welding jacket so you can prevent your arms or any of the rest of your part of your bodies from burning. And your helmet, the main thing that it does is it protects your eyes from getting any type of bad flash and causing you to go blind in the future. Your gloves protects your hands from any severe burns. I've seen and had some personal experiences with some pretty severe burns. Any type of jacket will protect you from any splatter of any type of welding you're doing, and it'll protect you from any type of sunburns or welding burns on your arms and the rest of your body. Alright, so over here, this is one of the smaller types of welding that you can do, which is oxyacetylene welding. Where you start is by turning these tanks on. This is oxygen, this is your acetylene tank. For these tanks, you want to make sure that all your lines don't have any ruptures in them and are leaking any gas. If anything gets caught on fire, you always want to have this tank especially. You always want to make sure it's close to closed, because this is a more flammable tank. And if it's very close to being closed, you can shut it off and make sure no more gas is running through this valve so it won't explode. Now, for any of these boots over here, when you're running, you always want to run them at a low PSI pressure. You can see it here in each of them. You always want to run these all the way open. Make sure you run a small PSI pressure of 5 pounds of pressure. And this welding can be used for thinner steel mainly, and you can use it to do any type of brazing. So for these three tanks that we have here, these two tanks are CO2. These tanks are mainly used for any type of wire feed welding or MIG welding, if you want to call it that. So these tanks are MIG. This tank right here is specifically for TIG welding. This tank is filled with argon, and if we go into this booth over here, I'll show you what these are. So we have all our valves set up here for our argon and our CO2. And you have to have them at certain levels just so you don't waste any of the gases, and so you can run it at a steady pace. This gun is a MIG gun, and leads for you to use any type of wire feed welding. And then we have all our ground set up over here, and you can set this machine up for any type of TIG or MIG or stick welding. This is our wire wheel to feed our wire feed gun. This is our main machine. We can use a smaller TIG machine to weld specifically with TIG. We have all the lines hooked up with our argon. And this TIG machine is used for any type of aluminum welding, or you can use it on smaller and thinner stainless steel or regular mild steel. This MIG welder and stick welder you can use for welding any thick pieces of metal, specifically for any type of bigger machinery, especially in the ag field. You want to use any type of stick welding just so it reinforces everything else better. MIG welding is not very recommended for any type of machinery welding in the ag field. but it can be used for welding any type of wheel lines together and doing any repairs on there. All right. So here we have one of our vents, and we have a whole setup of vents that go throughout all the booths. This prevents from any harmful chemicals in the air from welding to get into your lungs and prevent you from getting any types of diseases. One of the main ones being welder's lung, which could really damage you in the long run. These are some of the tools that we use on a day-to-day basis. Whenever we're welding, we have a wire brush to clean off any of the surfaces of the metal. We have some of these, which go to these stands right here, just to hold the stands in place. We use this Allen key to unwind or loosen or tighten some of these. We have a chipping hammer to chip off any of the slag from the pieces of metal whenever you're stick welding. We have MIG pliers, which you take off the tip of this part, you can cut the wire with this, and you can stick this inside this part of the pliers inside of the tip and clean it off. And these can be used for carrying any bigger pieces of metal that you wouldn't want to carry with any small pliers, and you can hold them further away from you whenever you're dunking it into the quench tank, just so any of that hot vapor that comes up doesn't burn you.